Hello guys. So, I am back again. And yes, I understand that some of you are still waiting on that there Goosebumps. But I had to postpone it for a very specific reason. And a lot of you have probably realized that my community post has a lot to do with The Simpsons. Specifically, The Simpsons Season 13, Episode 23, A Simpsons Tale of Harbour Bay. Now, let me just get this off my chest. I did watch this episode. It was my most favourite episode. I am not lying. It was the best episode I've ever seen from the show. And I know one of you that are listening have seen it. Pretty sure you're listening, so hello. But anyway, a lot of the ones today, especially the new fans, they've always wondered why Bart Simpson had no PTSD symptoms in Season 12, Episode 13, The Day of the Jackanapes. And then all of a sudden he has PTSD in Season 14, Episode 6, The Great Lice Detective. Like I said before on my community post, if some of you have read it, the reason why is because of a very specific cut episode. And yes, like I said, the episode title is in the community post, but like I just said, the title anyway. The problem is, a lot of the ones I know have grown up watching it, including ones from my family personally. And I watched it with them. They loved it too. But a lot of ones out there, they have no idea what they're missing. And I know some of you do know what they're missing. The problem is, no one actually either believes it, or they think because it's not shown on the internet, they're not sure to believe it or not. But guys, you cannot believe everything you hear on the internet. Trust me, like, the media can be a thing, it's a bit iffy at times. But I'm going to read you out the episode plot, which I got from really reliable sources. Trust me, this was not easy to obtain. It took us weeks and days. But for all the old and new Simpson fans, I really hope that you decide to tell Fox Studio what you think of this. And trust me, I have asked Al Jean 3 times on Twitter. I have asked foxinfo.com. I believe that's what it is. But I've asked them twice. They said they'd get back to me, and they didn't. And I've written Al Jean a letter through his fan mail. And let me tell you, it is really frustrating. But some of you have probably heard this before. Some of you may have even seen it before. But a lot of ones haven't. Now, I'm really looking as well for a tape version from someone who's willing to help. I'm not going to say who it is. Again, it's another source of mine. But they might be able to obtain a copy. They're not sure. Keep that in mind. They're not sure. But anyway, regardless of that, I'm going to read you the entire plot, which I have in front of me. And just so you know, yes, this is actually being read from my YouTube channel. But I also have remembered, and so have they, 2 extra bonus scenes for long-time fans of this episode. So, we start off with Homer losing his job at the power plant. And I'm just going to read it to you the way it is, because it'll be a lot more easier for you guys to actually hear, and it'll be a lot more easier for me when it comes to this, because it's a lot more easier just to read it out in front of you than trying to remember it from memory. Anyway, sure a lot of you can relate to that, but regardless, this is the episode that was cut. And this is the true reason why Bart Simpson has PTSD in season 14 and onward. So, Homer was looking for a job after Mr. Burns hired a new Shelbyville safety technician in his place, thus returning to New York City for a job interview. He could not find work in Springfield. He found this out with Lisa showing him a newspaper that she found saying about how they had new employees to hire in New York, which I believe was the Twin Tower buildings. I could be wrong, but it was definitely a tower building, because I remember, if you remember, there was a shot, like a point of view shot, where the employees and the interviewees actually went up the stairs. There was a huge staircase pointing upwards. Also, if I remember correctly, he also went to the Quickie Mart for that job, but of course Apu had someone else hired, which I believe was either his cousin or his nephew. Cannot remember which, but definitely he did, and he was very sad. He tried the DNV office, but of course Patty and Silva didn't want them to hire him and didn't want him working there. Now 3, I believe, was the Bowling-orama, but they were hired because I think, if I remember, it was Barney that actually got the job or something like that. Someone did. And as well as I think he tried the newscast, but no luck. He tried, I think, one more place. I think it was Luigi's restaurant, but he couldn't find work there either. Anyway, so going on from there, he could not find work in Springfield. The only thing is that he got distracted, right? So he got distracted by a hot dog cart owner, which I've been told his name was Hot Dog Joe. I'm not sure, but anyway, across the street, while Bart got kidnapped in the second half by Bob, Homer got hungry while waiting in a long interviewee line from the tower building. Plus, Chief Wiggum was present to get his boating license in the New York harbor. If you remember correctly, they wanted to see the Statue of Liberty. It was Marge, Lisa, and Bart. Bart wanted to go to see the exhibit. There was a new exhibit he wanted to see, but also he wanted to see the older one. But Chief Wiggum said since it was under repairs, he couldn't go. But of course we all know Bart Simpson actually just refused to listen, and he sneaked on ahead inside, which he would then later regret. Now, as we all know, this is how it worked. So, while Police Wiggum, along with as well his old chief, he was there, along with Lou and Eddie at the time, if I remember, they were there as well. And they were just, there to do their job. And there was a few other ones there as well, but it was the older cops, so I cannot remember their names. But anyway, so meanwhile, while that was happening, Bob was actually hiding out because he was a fugitive of the law. The reason why? Well, if you remember correctly, in season 12 they hinted at him being mistreated. and he couldn't handle it anymore, so he decided to flee. He just decided to flee, and he literally left Springfield and headed off to New York City at the exact same time. Now the problem is, he wasn't expecting anyone to actually be there because the place was closed. But if you remember, since Bart went on ahead, he literally, and yes he did, he literally found him, and poor Bart, he then got tied up. Now, this is going to be interesting, this next part. Not sure if, I'm not really sure if a lot of you remember this scene, but this is going to sound interesting for new fans. But if you have watched the episode as many times as me, or a lot of other ones, well then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, there was, as well as that, we cut back then to, before we go to that bit, we cut back to the Springfield plant. And what happened was, and what happened was, in this bonus scene, trust me, I really did love this. Like, I really did love this scene, but the second scene is my favourite scene with this character. Not sure if you remember, but a lot of ones, well, they can't remember the character Gumbly in the episode, but that was the guy who actually took over Homer's job. Pretty sure his name was Gumbly, because again, I looked it up just to be sure, and a lot of everyone said yes. And if you actually look on my channel, you'll see in my community post, I posted up, as well as that, actually I'll put it up on screen, but I posted up the link to the page I did on my other Simpsons fan 013 page, and that was my other account. But anyway, what happened was, I actually asked, and funny enough, 2 people actually did say, yes, I remember this. They said, I remember this quite well, one of them said. And it said it was Gumbly's last appearance before he was written off the show, pretty much. And someone else actually said, yeah, you're right. And then they were very sad to actually see that character go. And to be fair, I understand, because he was a really fun character in my opinion. Not sure if everyone else agrees, but I do. So first off, this is how the scene went. So there was a close-up shot on Gumbly munching a bologna sandwich. Lenny and Carl observing him closely. Lenny then said, "Hey, Carl, check out the new guy." Carl went on ahead to say, "Yeah, waltzing about like he owns the place." "Hey, Carl, what was his name again? Didn't it begin with a G or something?" "Oh, wasn't it Graggle?" Gumbly then goes on ahead and he says, and that was to Charlie. Charlie was actually holding, if I remember correctly, he was carrying a tray at the time, and even someone else actually confirmed that. Well, actually 2 other people I know did, so I'm going off this, but I believe it was a tray. I can even imagine him in my own head, and I know I'm right, he did eat a sandwich. Anyway, regarding that, he went on to say, after yanking Charlie's donut, the character Charlie works there, the guy that goes into Moe's bar anyway, that's friends of Homer, or at least friends with a bit with Lenny and Carl. Anyway, he went on to say, "Hey pal, you gonna finish that?" Thanks." Then there was a medium close-up shot on Charlie flabbergasted as Gumbly chows down his treat. "Hey Carl, did you see that?" "Yeah, who does that guy think he is, Obama?" "Hey guys, can I sit with you guys?" And then that was Charlie, and then Lenny went on to say, Charlie, you gotta stand up for yourself. Yeah, don't listen to that jerk. Oh, I don't know, guys. That was Charlie. Now, I don't know if that's 100% what they said, but I know for a fact that he didn't stand up for himself in that episode. Pretty sure, because even the person I was talking to said no, he didn't. Now, this was my favourite scene from him, and it's his best scene in my opinion. Now, this one I do remember laughing at the most. So, bonus scene number 2 went. So, Mr. Smithers, first off, Mr. Smithers and Mr. Burns were walking down the hallway, and he went to Mr. Burns. Sir, about the new guy, I think he might be. And then Mr. Burns says, Nonsense, Smithers. He said he would do his job, and I believe him. And then Burns actually eyes Gumbley in a chair. If you remember right, he was actually relaxing in the chair at the time. And he went on to say, What are you doing, man? And then Gumley was positioning himself comfortably, and he went on to said, Oh, hello, Burns. I thought I told you to do your job. Don't you worry your pretty little head, fed Burns. Nothing bad's gonna happen when good old Gumbley's around. Then there was a wide shot, if you remember, on the fire as Charlie attempts to beat it out. I believe it was with a file or a book, something like that. It didn't work though. Then we cut to Lenny saying, Carl? Yeah? I miss Homer. Yeah, me too. Mr. Burns then said to Smithers, Smithers? Yes, sir. Prepare the call. Right away, sir. So the fire was spreading, and the poor employees were shrieking for dear life. And I do recall my young self laughing at the character. I don't know why. I really do not know why. But I really thought the guy was hilarious. And at that time, I was young. I might have been, if I had to say, either 7 or 8. I was pretty young. Pretty young indeed. And just in case you're wondering what he looked like, I have the character here. I will put it right in front of us. I'll put him right on screen for you. So that was him. I do have some sources saying yes, this is him. They watched it more than me, but trust me, they're saying this is the guy, and I had to think way back, and we had to really think hard. We really had to think hard to actually get that far. Trust me, that was not easy to remember, but we were able to manage. We actually managed to do it. Anyway, going back to the main plot, in my opinion. So, meanwhile, while that was going on, we cut back to them Bart being tied up to the Statue of Liberty. So, in this bonus scene 1, again, or you may as well call it bonus scene 3. Anyway, so if I remember correctly, this is all as well before the climax. So there was a bonus scene where after Bart mocks Bob, he cuts him down with a pocket knife, only to leave it down next to him. Now, if I remember correctly, Bob, when he was coming out from that scene, out of the Statue of Liberty's nostril, or nose, he actually went on ahead to say about, him and saying like how he actually escaped and stuff, and what he was up to, kind of. But the thing is, Bart could not take him seriously, if I remember, and I do remember him saying something along the lines of, says the guy who looks like a booger or something like that. I know what's going back, but I do remember him making that joke, and I do remember me laughing at it. Oh man, it was so funny. Anyway, it was a way to break the tension, I'll tell you that much. Especially because first time watching it, I did not see this coming. Anyway, so that's what he did. He left the knife down beside him, or the pocket knife. But anyway. So needing a distraction, Bart asked Bob about the landmark, to which he would postpone rummaging through his red toolbox for a wrench to remove the construction inside pylons, and start stating facts on Lady Liberty, thus stalling for time. You see, Bob, being an escaped criminal, was hiding inside Lady Liberty's crown to avoid the cops, and planned on climbing down the back of the statue to keep a low profile, since Chief Wiggum and the police were actually down below. He didn't want to cause any... Well, first off, he didn't want to cause any commotion, and he didn't want Bart to, cause any trouble. Of course, he should have thought better than that, but anyway. But Bart, venturing the closed-off visiting tour garden exhibit, accidentally stumbled upon Bob and his plans yet again. Bob said, if you remember correctly, he said, I will have to take you with me, Bart, but I will take care of you later. Bart uses this opportunity to cut through the ropes, rocking back and forth, and run across the Statue of Liberty, while Bob chased after him. This is when Bart finds a trapdoor, if many of you remember, and quickly slides down the right-armed inside torch ladder, leading him down a set of stairs that spiral downward, with Bob inches away from catching him. At that there point, if you remember, they were coming down the stairs, and it was definitely a spiral staircase, because the camera actually tilted downwards as the pair ran down it, like they were rushing down. We then cut to Bart bursting through an exit door and sprinting down another stairway. Now, if any of you remember what happened next, you should remember this, but hopefully you do. But anyway, Bob stopped for a quick breather, glaring menacingly as Bart escaped his clutches, only to find an emergency fire axe nailed to the back wall behind him. Enraged, he smashes the glass with the attached hammer and continues to hunt down Bart. Thinking he lost Bob, Bart slows his pace and took a breather, only for Bob to swing an axe at him. If you remember correctly, and I do remember this, it took me a while to get the dialogue. It's kind of similar to this, so I'm pretty sure. So Bart sighs in relief, right, and he said, safe, and he was just leaning against the back wall. Well, the inside wall of the statue. And there was a wee window as well, like a wee tiny window, and he could see the light was shining through at the time, and Bob wields an axe. So Bob wields the axe, saying, guess again, Bart. You know, that's what he said, guess again, Bart. And if you remember, he started to dodge, and whilst this was all happening, he was nearly out of breath. But at the exact same time, of course, Marge, Lisa, and Chief Wiggum were out searching for Bart, not finding him anywhere. So after Bob said that, we then cut to a close-up shot on Bob splitting what looks to be Bart's neck, only for the shot to zoom out, revealing he split a yellow pipe. Now, I must admit, the first time I seen that shot, I thought for sure Bart was a goner. But then I seen the steam, and I was like, oh, that was close. So the rest of the episode plays out as normal, as Bob corners Bart at the visiting tour garden of Lady Liberty. Now, if you remember correctly, this is what happened then. So this is going to be a wee bit of a cut, but it's the best way I'm going to describe it. So whilst that was all happening, if I remember, Bart literally barricaded the door. Now with the axe, what happened, if I remember, I even asked, one person did agree, but I'm just going to say it anyway. What happened was, since he barricaded the door and he had to run outside of the statue, Bob had to actually get a hold of the axe and start literally axing down the door because he locked it. And he had to try and do that because, again, he was so furious at Bart. He just wanted him dead. But then again, he wants him dead almost in every other episode, except for the new ones. But that's another story. Anyway, so Bob was threatening Bart's life with an emergency axe in, yes, and outside the Statue of Liberty. And that was again at the tour garden, if I remember correctly. After chasing him down a spiral staircase and bursting through an exit door, leading them down another stairway before heading back outside. And that did happen. Now then, this next bit is an interesting one, because there was a wide shot on Bart regaining balance as Bob closes in, right? So he closed in, and he actually made Bart panic. He was panicking. He was nervous. I remember the face he had. It was so jarring. I was like, oh my gosh, how's Bart going to get out of this? That's the way literally I acted. The first time I seen it, I literally said that. I was like, how is he going to get out of this? Anyway, I was literally hoping he'd be saved. But of course, we all know how it ends. Well, some of us do. Anyway, so Bob wielding the axe at that scene, he went on ahead. And poor Bart, he was looking for anywhere to run. Now, this was just after the scene I'm going to read to you next. But anyway, so Bob wielding the axe said to him, if I remember, again, one person did confirm I was on the right track, so I'm going to say anyway. So he said, quote, "Don't bother running, Bart. Soon you will be swimming with the fishes," or something like that. Or either that, or he said, soon your lifeless body will be swimming with the fishes, or something like that. I know it's something like that. Terrified, Bart backs away from Bob, stopping at the edge of visiting tour garden, only to be saved by Wiggum, his former chief of police, and Homer, thanks to their ingenious rescue plan to catch Bart in a safety net before accidentally bouncing him onto the New York ferry. Because again, that ferry actually was coming 15 minutes, so he was running for a solid 15 minutes or so. At most 14, or at most maybe 13 to 12 minutes, but definitely around that. Now, this is where things get interesting. So the second bonus scene I'm going to be talking about is the scene with Homer in it. If you remember correctly, and this did actually happen, I know because it was my second favourite scene after the axe scene. So, in this here scene, there is actually a whole concept where we cut back to Homer and he's in line. And what happens is, since he sees, this actually did happen again. So, Homer waiting in line, he gets very hungry. Like, he was starving of hunger. And the line, it was too long. This is going to make me laugh, but it was too long. And what happened was, he actually saw the hot dog car owner, which again I did say was, I believe, Hot Dog Joe, but again, I was told by one person they think that was the name of him. Not 100% sure, but I do remember Homer liking him. At least I remember him saying something along the lines of, you you were the only one that I liked, here all those years ago or something. I was like a friend of his. and he sold hot dogs. So in this scene, this is what it is like. So Homer missing his job opportunity and seeing a man get the job buys Marge a hot dog. But worrying for Bart's safety, she quickly refuses and pleads his help. Again, Marge was terrified when she realized, and it was actually Lisa that I remember saying, "Mom, look," and she was like, "Oh, Bart," she was so terrified. She didn't want Bart to fall. There was nothing she could do. Nothing any of them could do, except Chief Wiggum. That was it. She couldn't do anything. She had to look after Lisa, and she had to look after Maggie. There was nothing she could do. But I do remember Lisa was holding Maggie, if I'm right. In one of the scenes, she was. If I remember that's right. Either that or... Well, I remember Maggie being next to Lisa. I'm pretty sure she did hold her, though. Anyway, like I was saying, Homer told her to hold that thought, Marge, and offered Lisa the hot dog. Lisa, however, replied with, "Dad, I'm a vegetarian," and then she blurts out Bart's name. Homer, though being a lovable idiot, spotted Bart on top of the Statue of Liberty, shouting, if you remember, he said something along the lines of, "Hey, Bart! Hey, I have this hot dog for you. Do you want me to hold on to it till you climb down the statue?" Oh my God! Literally, and he dropped the hot dog. He literally dropped the hot dog. He was so much in shock. It took him a few minutes. Well, not minutes. It took him a few seconds, but finally he realized where he was, and he was terrified for his life too. Finally realizing the situation. He did drop the hot dog, but he screamed in terror. He was like, "Oh my God!" If you remember, that's exactly what he said. I'm pretty sure I remember. It was my second favorite scene in the whole episode. So anyway, panicking, Marge asked him to do something, only for him to yank Wiggum's megaphone out of his hand and order Bart to jump. But Homer backtracked himself when Marge shot him a look, and Wiggum snatched back his megaphone. Now this might test your memory a bit for some of you. I know one person does seem to remember. One of my subscribers. But anyway, so Chief Wiggum told Bob by megaphone to let Bart go and hand himself in. Now if you remember, he went like, "Bob, this is Wiggum here," because he didn't have the name Chief actually, because he was kind of stripped from that title on the episode, if you remember. So he was like, "Bob, this is Wiggum here speaking. Let Bart go, and we'll forget any of this ever happened." Also, before that, he actually did say, "Let Bart go and turn yourself in." And then he said, "And we'll forget any of this ever happened." If you remember that, that's going back. But I do remember that dialogue. Pretty sure, because, again, at the time, Bob showed him a disapproving look, and he was holding on to the axe at the time. However, if you remember, as Bart tried to slip away, he actually got caught in the act. Now, if you remember, I'm trying to see if I can describe it for you, but Bob held the axe, and it was facing in the right direction, because they were at the right hand side of him. So he looked over, and then all of a sudden Bart's trying to tiptoe away, without being seen. But then he caught on to him he literally caught him, and he was like, he just shot him a look, and then all you hear is Bart saying, laughing nervously, because he was still nervous, and he went, "I was just gonna go over there and take in the view," or something like that. And then Bob said, now this is the bit I remember the most. I do remember him saying this, and I'm not the only one that does. What happened was Bart then said that, and then all you hear is Bob in the background saying, with the axe, he's like dead serious. He's like, "Bart, if you move one more muscle, I swear I will slice you with this axe and split you down the middle. And again, poor Bart, he had to then go backwards. He actually stumbled backwards. He was terrified. This is where his PTSD came in. Guys, this is literally the reason. I mean, can you imagine being a 10-year-old boy, having an axe nearly wielding at you? Can you just imagine being in that situation? I would have been terrified. I mean, my 10-year-old self was scared of Chucky. I'm not kidding. I would have been terrified. I would have been scared of heights. I would have literally wanted to just find a way off there. I'd be so terrified. Even now, I'd be thinking to myself, that's a bit too much. But that's what made it one of the best Sideshow Bob episodes. It was so well written. Regardless of that, this is what happened next, if you remember. So when Marge asked about, and again, this is actually after the scene I just read to you, the bit about, the one about Bart actually being saved on the boat, because he was then carried back into the harbour, if you remember that. Anyway, so this is after this, and everything seems to be calmed down. So, when Marge asked about Bob's escape, Wiggum stated, if you remember, I remember this, it took me a while to get this, and it wasn't the only one. There was one other person who agreed with me saying, yep, I remember that. I will tell you this, as soon as I said it, they did say, yes, that sounds right. So, this is what he said. He said, well, that's easy enough. You see, with Bob here being a minor offender, nobody even noticed his absence. And then he continued saying, rest assured, ma'am, we will be keeping a closer eye on this one from now on. If you remember that, that is what happened, because Marge did ask, like, Chief Wiggum, how come no one noticed that Bob was missing? You know, if you remember that. That is what she said. She did ask that question. Anyway, so the episode ends, of course, on a high note. So it ends with Homer getting his job back via call. Remember, Mr. Smithers was told to call him. From Mr. Smithers, and catching up with the hot dog car owner off screen as we cut to black. Again, this dialogue, I admit, is not perfect. It's not. We are going off pure memory, and we are going off sources from reliable sources. I will remind you, they are very reliable. But again, the dialogue was the hardest to remember. But we remembered the scenes. That's the main part. We definitely remembered the scenes. And we tried our best to stay as close to the source material as we possibly could. Trust me on that. We didn't just spend, we are not just talking 3 days. We are talking, weeks. I'm talking, roughly at least 2 weeks. I'm not joking. All of this did happen. All of it did happen. And if you want any more proof, well, I have actually got a couple of things I want to bring up. Aside from his PTSD coming out of nowhere, there is a scene in in season 14, do you remember that Bart did say, wait, Bob can't stay with us. This man's tried to kill me so many times, it's not funny anymore. Now that's only one, because if you remember, he didn't start till season 5. So 5, he didn't do it in 6, he did it in 7, he did it in 12, but that's still technically only 3 times. Now I know for some people it'll be so many, but it's not, because seriously, this episode was meant to be a 2-parter. Season 12 was meant to be a secret 2-parter. It was. So technically it should have been 4 times. And again, if you think about it, in season 12, he wasn't scared. If you remember correctly, he said, Yeah, like he said, first off, Bob said to him, quote, "Hello, Bart." And he was like, and Bart just said, "Oh, it's you, Bob. How you doing?" "No screams? Not even an eep?" "Hey, I'm not afraid of you. Every time we tango, you wind up in jail." And he said, like, "I'm 6-0. Again, though, I don't know why, like, you don't really count 8. I'm sorry, but I don't count 8. He never tried to kill him in 8. So it should have been, in my opinion, that's up in the air. I suppose if you just want to count the jail part, that's up to you. But trust me, this was the reason why Bart had PTSD. This is 100%, 100% the reason why he was so afraid. That's why, like, it's so strange to people. I understand. I understand it myself. I mean, how can Bart go from not being scared of him to being scared of him then in 14? It's like you've missed something. You have missed something. An entire episode. Trust me on that. I know it sounds hard to believe, and I know someone's listening here, you're probably like, no, I've seen it. But other ones are like, I don't know, I've never seen this. How do I know you're, right? Well, I'm telling you, I did absolutely see it. I know it sounds strange, but I did see it. 100%. My family loved it. I loved it. Like, even a friend of mine actually has watched it. And more than that, I know I've went out and about. I have, for the petition, I went out to see how many people actually remembered it. And I actually found, believe it or not, let me just double check here. Yes, I do have it here in front of me. But outside of the family, I found a number, and not including my friend, I found 4 extra ones alone. And in that pool, 20.91 literally, like, they do remember it. And in another poll I did, an extra 4 people said they'd rewatch it in a heartbeat. If you do not believe me, check the polls. I am not lying. And to the 20 people that actually voted, and if you are listening, one of you, first off, that helps a lot. But second, I understand where you're going with this, and I understand that if you're trying to tell people that you have seen it, I understand. I understand that you may be frustrated. But please, just do me one wee thing, guys. If you are planning to ask Fox Studio, where I have, or if you are, say if you are wanting to, say, ask Algene, please do not spam them. Do not do anything like that. Please. Please do not do that. Because the last thing I want is negativity in this whole fandom. I do not want to start like a thing like Miraculous. No, I do not. I do not want you guys to go over there and start like doing something similar like Thomas Astra. Please do not do that. The guys doing the show, they deserve our respect. But I really do hope, and I do really want this as well for the ones that grew up with it. But honestly, I really do hope that more people will spread this around. Please. I am hoping that this video is going to help ones to prove to people that they are right. And again, if you guys want to actually see it, the only way is to actually go onto the petition. Listen, I did start the petition, but I didn't start it on my own. My family has helped, along with other sources. Again, I'm not saying, but they have helped a lot. Quite a lot. More than they probably think. I will say that also, if you're still doubtful, I remember reading books with the episode in it. I'm not joking. I am not joking. I actually do remember it. And so does my mom as well. So I'm not the only one that remembers. So I remember in Inside Soap magazine. Now it did air. It aired from 2002 to 2013. It did. That is 11 years. Trust me, that's a long time. And I remember, in not all of them, but I remember reading the books and finding it in there. Specifically, I remember this one time where I was meant to watch the episode, but the thing is, I forgot which episode it was. This was a different story, but I actually forgot because I was playing with my friends and it was my favourite episode coming on and I literally missed it. I totally missed it and I wish I would have came back. But I did see it. That could have been my 4th time watching it. But I definitely watched it 3 other times. I definitely did. Also, another fun fact as well, I do remember also that not only did Marge also offer to get her old, or at least one of her old jobs, if I remember correctly, before Lisa showed Homer the newspaper. But of course also whenever Marge did find Bart in the harbour, of course she did comfort him for a hug session, and that was longer, but the poor boy couldn't even speak. He literally was, if he did, he was muttering words. He couldn't speak. He was traumatized. Once again, I do not know how I'm going to convince new fans without really any proof. But if any of you are really curious, it will be in Inside Soap magazine. It will be. All the Simpsons episodes are in it. All the way up from the 1990s. Right up. So, if you really want to prove it to yourself, it should be in one of them. It'll be in a few, actually. But the truth is, I cannot tell you which one. But if I remember, 2010 has it in it somewhere. If I remember, it was a sunny day and it was sometime near either the summer or spring when it last came on. Not 100% sure on that, but I remember it being a sunny day. And that's going back. That is going back years. But anyway, well, a few years, not like, well, anyway. So again, if you want any more proof on this, also there's one more hint I can give you, and it's up to you if you want to believe it or not. You can if you wish. But this will make you think. And again, they're not one to be in like inconsistent with the Sideshow Bob episodes. Every other episode, except maybe Mr. Burns's, a bit, or maybe Krusty's, sure, or maybe maybe even maybe Moe's, but definitely Sideshow Bob ones are consistent. So if you want to disagree, you can, but I have to put this out there. I have to. So aside from literally the fact that, yes, the Bob Next Door, okay, first off, season 21, episode 22, yes, the Bob Next Door was definitely, it was referencing this episode. It was. It definitely was. A lot of ones will tell you no, but only the older fans know it. If you really want to see for yourself, go on to the No Homers Club. That's exactly where I had to go to get my answers. And that's only one of the sources I can tell you. But there's a lot more sources than that. Trust me. I have more sources than you probably would think. But this is something I really want you to think about. So, specifically, in season 17, and it's the Italian Bob. Now, I remember that episode very well. I liked it. Not like one of the best ones, but better, I guess you could say, than season 25. You know, the man who grew too much. But anyway, this is what I know he did say. So if you remember the episode, it was the bit where he said, "Simpsons, I beg of you, please do not destroy the life I've created for my life I've created for myself here." And then he said, "Surely the most heinous criminal deserves a seventh," hear me right, a seventh chance. He said that, seventh chance. Now, I know a lot of ones would think, well, he's probably talking about the ones where he's had, but if you think about it, he's asked the Simpsons, and even before that, he was talking about the times where he was after Bart, and that's meant to be a clue, because in that there episode came out, right, it came out in, like I said, season 13, but it was 2002. Only 3 years had passed, and that episode came out in 2005. Now, the timeline does add up. Now, here's the thing. If you count, first off, season 1, then season 3, then season, season 5, season 6, season 7, I'm not going to count season 8, season 12, season 14, and we cut 13, he should have asked for an 8th chance. And even if you do include, again, 8, which I don't think why you would, but even if you wanted to, that would have been his 9th chance, right? But think about it. First off, he only met Bart in season 1. He didn't know him. Now, in season 3, this is where it gets tricky for some people, but think about it. He didn't even know Selma and Bart were related. All he thought was he's going to get, money from her. He didn't see the fact that Bart was the nephew. He didn't know. Do not tell me he did. He definitely did not know at the time. Otherwise, he probably would have stayed away. Well, maybe. I'm not really sure on that, but possibly. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Again, like I said, he only went after Bart in season 5. So season 5, 6, it's your choice. Either way, you can either count the town, because again, he wanted to make Bart homeless. I'm not sure if you even want to count then Selma's and take away 6. That still leaves you with 5. You go season 5, right? So season 5, then you go from there to season 6, 7, not 8, 12, 14, right? But here's the thing. that would only be 5 episodes. So if you do count 3, right? Double checking this here. So if you do count 3, you'd be going 3, 5, not 6, but 7, not 8, but 12. And then you count 14. Again, that's only 5 episodes. So why did he ask for a 7th chance? Because again, I'm not counting. Even if you do want to count 1, then 1, 3, 5, 6, 7. You could say 7. But again, 12, right? But then you have to count as well season 14. So why do you not ask again for an 8th chance? Like, again, season 1, I'm just going to keep saying this because to get it right in my head. So season 1, season 3, season 5, 6, 7, 12, and then you have to count 14, because he definitely mentioned 14. He was talking about 14. But again, where's the 8th chance? Now here's the thing. If you decide again to take out 1, but if you just go 3, 5, 6, 7, 12, like, yes, 14. To be fair, that would give you your 7th chance. But here's the thing. Here's the main thing. Then you cut out the reason why Bart has PTSD. You understand why it's so strange? Like, trust me, I know how strange it is. But, again, you have to count 13 because, like, that is where he got his PTSD. And he did. He honestly did. So, you will only be left with season 3, season 5, even if you want to count 6 because he was after the 10, that still leaves you with 7. That leaves you with 12. 14, that's still only 5. He's looking for a 7th chance, remember. So, you have to count 13. Oh, look, there's your 7th chance. You understand? Like, they were still airing it in that time. That's why a lot of ones weren't confused, but now they're confused. I understand some of you are confused, and I know you are because I've heard people as well say, like, why was he mistreated? Even in a lot of videos I've watched, a lot of ones say, why was, he was so mistreated? Why did it end like that? That is why. That's literally why. Again, I know it's hard for some to believe, but what I'm hoping is that the ones that have seen it, or the ones that really want to see it for themselves, just to see if it's true, what they've been hearing, there's only one way for you to actually see the truth, unless I can get a copy of it. I'm not sure. But the only way, guys, for you to actually get this back, whether you've watched it or not, or if you want to see it, that's fine. If you have seen it and you want it back, that's even better. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter which way you go, because either way, you're losing out. Either way, you are actually, you are literally being left in the dark by Fox Studio. And I know what I'm saying here. Sure, people are going to be like, oh, well, they say that, and sure they have sources, but they also have it on their community post to say, here's the sources. But again, I know a lot of ones think different. I know the way people's minds can be. But guys, please, if you want this back, whether you've watched it, I have no idea. But if you have and you want to rewatch it, the only way possible, right now at least, would be for you to go to that petition and actually show Fox that you miss it. You couldn't do it before because probably some of you were not sure if you watched it or not. I swear this was a real episode to the ones watching, or the ones that are listening now that are new fans. I swear this is a real episode. This is. 100% it is. Everything I told you is true. So, if you want to see it for yourself, and trust me, I know a lot of you would love it. Bob was at his peak. Literally, like Cape Fear. Only, in my opinion, it was Kelsey Grammer's best performance. But that's another topic. I go on and on about Kelsey Grammer. And yes, I do watch his shows, but that is not the point. The point is, if you want to actually see this, you have to help by going into the petition. They're not going to listen to us otherwise. Listen, they're not. It doesn't matter how many times you tell them, complain, they're not going to actually listen unless you literally show them. So please, show them you miss it. It's up to you. You can either go to the petition right now, or whatever time you wish, and help out the fans that grew up with it and miss it. Ones like me who grew up with it. Or if you're one of the ones that have never seen it, if you want to see it for yourself, that is still the only way. You have to go out of your way and literally tell them you want it back so you can see it. Because guys, you're missing out on one of the greatest Simpsons episode like ever. I'm talking, it was the greatest one I ever seen. I couldn't stop thinking about it at school. Every time the teachers used to say, "You okay?" And I was thinking about it, guys. I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was so good. Every time I was like, I wonder if it'll be on screen today. I wonder if it'll be on TV. I wonder if it will be on this, on channel. You know what I mean? Like on my channel, I was watching it. It was that good. Like, I remember the first time I ever watched it, right? I watched it with my cousin. And let me tell you, I was so happy he called me in that day. I loved The Simpsons. He wanted to share it with me, and I thank him for that. I couldn't ask for, I couldn't have asked for a better Simpson buddy at the time. It's true. Literally, it is true. I know I'm getting emotional, but that's just memories. And again, they were the best time in my life. So please guys, if you feel the exact same way, or at least if you actually want it back to see it for yourself, or either that, or you want to see it because of your memories, nostalgic memories of it, this is your chance. I have given you I have actually given you a way in. I have opened the door for you. I have literally, and along with that, not only me, but my sources, we have opened the door. We have given you front row seats. We have literally went out of our own way to recall everything, get as much proof as we can. And again, trust me when I say this, it's not going to be easy to believe. Because again, Al Jean has literally not answered anything. It'd been different if maybe he would have said something along the lines of, like, oh, this episode never existed. And I was like, well, you're lying. Because I know he is, if it did happen like that. But no, he didn't deny the episode. He never mentioned the episode. Every time I ask him, he just goes on to another subject. If that's not hiding something, I do not know what is. And he is. The ones at Fox Studio are hiding. Literally, that episode was not only cancelled, guys. That episode was banned and cancelled. No near traces of it. That's what's so frustrating about it, because, again, it was the best one. Like, I know a lot of ones said Cape Fear is good. Oh, do not get me wrong, I love Cape Fear. But that episode was my favourite Sideshow Bob episode. Favourite. With a capital F. All capital letters. Favourite. Totally, that was my favourite episode, guys. And again, it was also my family's, favourite episode too. No, it's not only me. Literally, one of my sources actually said that they had people looking for it for me. And they did. I'm not going to say who. I do not want them to literally be known on here. But trust me, they went out of their own way to help us through the internet. And again, another one as well has helped us. And another one I'm telling you about, kind of, because I can't say who it is, but they're on as well, on the case to see if they can actually get a copy. I'm telling you, though, that's truth there. I am not going to say who it is. I'm not going to say anything. I do not want you to get your hopes up. But I'm hoping they can, so I can actually post a real clip of it. What I'm hoping to do is actually find a tape copy so I can actually upload the bit with the statue scene. That's all we would need. And I'm sure a lot of you would actually love to see that. I know. But the thing is, if I did get it, and if they literally found out I had it, I could actually get cancelled, or maybe worse. So please, be patient with me, okay? If I can get it, you'll know. Because if you do go onto the petition and sign it, and if you just keep an eye on updates, you'll see it. 100% you will see. Only if I can get a copy. One thing I will say, I'm hoping I can, and I'm really hoping, not only that, but I am really, really, really hoping the Fox Studio will hear our calls. Because it's not fair. Kelsey Grammer, he got paid for that episode. They all did. As well as that, I did try to get in contact with Nancy Cartwright. Funny enough, I did get in contact with a Nancy Cartwright, but she did say that she was the wrong one. And again, it's a very interesting topic because I actually did mention the episode to her. But it was I was cut off again, so I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. I even asked, if they're interested in talking about it, but no. So I don't know. I have no idea. Was that her? Was it not? I mean, I got the information actually from a real reliable source. Trust me, that was a real reliable source. And if you still do not believe me, well, I'll tell you the right source. Now, be careful how you use this website. It is available for anyone. if they have an account, but the contact out actually does have a lot of ones. I'm not going to say anything else. If you are planning on using it, contact out, just be careful on how you use it. Because the last thing I want is someone to get, defaced or anything like that. But guys, seriously, again, I know for a fact one of you guys probably listening knows exactly what I'm talking about here. And for the ones that are interested, or the ones that have seen it, I plead and I hope that you guys will be willing to do the right thing. Please. Again, I feel so bad for the ones that did not grow up with this episode. I do. I honestly do. I feel like they're missing something. They're really missing this. And again, Kelsey Grammer deserves better. He does. He literally gave us this episode, and it was one of the best episodes he ever did in The Simpsons, along with Cape Fear and again the Bob Next Door. Or if you want to say Daytime Bob, that is up to you. But still, guys, this here is 100% real. And I know some of you will probably be listening to this saying, oh yeah, I remember this. Yes, I do. Others, this is interesting, but I've never seen it. But guys, let me just end off saying this. And I do have 2 more things to say. 1, if you are going to contact again Fox Studio, or if you do ask someone personally from there, that would be even better. But please be respectful. It's not their fault. You can blame maybe the network. Or the network executives, or whichever one. And 2, I believe that episode was cancelled. Now I had to think about this, because again, it couldn't be in the act scene, it can't be the violence, because again, in season 19 he was going to burn Bar alive, so that's worse. And again, he was going to blow him up, so that's again worse. But the reason I really do believe it was cut is because of the Gumbley character. I really do believe that, because he was meant to be like a stereotype, but he was a working stereotype for Americans, and that's probably, if I remember, American, but definitely was a stereotype for workers, and I bet they complained about that. Not sure who, but whoever may have been, they should have really thought, why are we complaining about this? It doesn't make any sense to me. It really does not make any sense. I am sorry. I understand that when it comes to having stereotypes and maybe being, someone finding that offensive, I understand. But guys, this is a cartoon show. I do not think they put much thought into that. They were not meant to be offensive or anything. It wasn't racist. And again, I do not see any other point in why they'd actually do it. The episode was fine the way it was. The problem is, if they would have got rid of the A plot, the B plot would have been too dark. Again, it was kind of Cape Fear. We had to, have some jokes in there, light-hearted ones, so we could actually enjoy the dark scenes. But something very similar, only difference is, and this is in my opinion, but this here one was more darker than Cape Fear. I do believe that. Because again, Bart was up 300 feet. And he had to jump off there. Long way to jump. quite a long way to jump, even with the safety net. But still, I understand. And again, for anyone who's thinking maybe that's the reason why, well, in season 18, he literally jumped off the water tower. So I doubt it. Because it would not make any sense how they could get rid of, that one just for that, but then bring it back in season 18. If I remember correctly, it was season 18, but definitely jumped off the water tower, and it was the one where Bart lost the game, if I remember. Let me just double check for a minute. I will put it back in. I will put it up in front of me right now because I love to check my facts. Trust me on that. I do. So it was Simpsons. Let's see. Simpsons season 18. I'm pretty sure it was 18. Yes, it was. It was season 18, episode 18, The Boys of Bummer. That's it. I was right. Okay. So I do not think it was that reason either why it was cut, if one's wondering. Because I've been asked by a lot of ones why it was cancelled. And I could not for the life of me give them a real answer. But now that I have actually went more in depth, thanks to the ones that helped me, I believe that is the reason. And trust me, to the one person that actually said, like, yes, this is it. This is the episode title and everything like that. I thank you. If you're listening, not sure. But anyway, and regardless, that is the whole entire plot of this episode. And again, it is a shame. It really is appalling that they cut this episode because it explains so much for season 14 and onwards. And again, that clip is from that episode. Trust me, it took, like I said, I have no idea how long, but it definitely took us like 2 weeks or so just to get the information we were looking for. I know that sounds a bit crazy for someone maybe thinking, I don't know how long why would you even do that? The thing is though, since again, I will say this again, it is still my favourite episode, and that's why I felt so bad. Like, even Lydia doesn't understand. Lydia, if you're listening, Lydia, hello. But first, even Lydia from, like, the Simpsons timeline videos, she didn't know about this episode. And again, Ivor did the other one I watched as well. And again, Radio Mike, if you are listening, I'm not sure, but if you are listening to this, again, you said, I'm not sure. So you're not sure if you watched it or not. Maybe you have. I'm not really sure myself. But you did not deny the episode, so I'm not sure about that. Regardless, thank you all for listening. I know this video took a long while. I hope I did not bore you. And I really do hope that some of you will let you consider helping to get this episode back. If you really do miss it, or if you are really curious, or if anything you really want to watch it for yourself for the first time, I plead and I beg and I ask that you take it up with Fox Studio. It is the only way we're going to make them change their minds. Because I alone cannot do it. I've given you the key. Like Kingdom Hearts, I have literally given you the key. You just need to take that key and unlock the door. That's all you need to do. They do have it. They have to still have it because they're under contract, 1, and 2, they literally showed that clip. They still have it, guys. 100%, they have to still have that. But the only way you're going to make it change, the only way you're going to make it, and the only way you're going to make any change in this fandom is if you go out of your own way, and at least, I know this, but the petition will only cost anything like £3, £3, or at least €3, or goes up any money, it does not matter where you live. The petition is in change.org, and yes, this petition has already, if I remember, 60 plus, but it's not enough. Trust me, that is not enough. We need to spread the word. I ask that you share this video to as many people as possible. It does not matter whether or not they believe you or if they do not. But the fact that I am telling you this, and if you really want to prove to them that you are right, or if you've told them the story and they do not believe you, show them this video. Please. It is the only way we are going to make them literally rethink what they said. This is the only way, guys. This is the only chance you have. And I beg you, literally, to listen to this video. It does not matter if you are a new fan, if you are an old fan who misses it, or if you are an old fan who just missed watching it. And if you were told it was going to air, but it did not. It does not matter to me whether or not you have been a fan since you were small, or it does not matter to me if you're a fan now, or it does not matter even if you are, you could be a fan from, you were literally, well, if you were like me, I was actually a fan from around 3 to 4 years old. I should not have watched it, but I did. And the thing is, I have no regrets for it. I have no regrets. But the thing is, as well, that's the thing. Fox will not listen to one person. But if we've actually been together, and if we actually go out of our own way to help this petition, we could do the impossible. We could actually do something that many other people thought to be impossible, and actually cancel and unban an episode from 2002. I know it sounds outlandish. I know it sounds a bit off. I know it can sound a bit crazy. I know it will sound to many people like this is only one person who literally says they have this and have shown it. But trust me, guys. Again, that's because I've went too deep. Trust me, I went as deep as my mind, as deep as my sources, as deep as I could possibly go. Trust me on that. No lie. No lie, I've went as deep as I could possibly go for you guys. Because this fandom meant so much to me growing up. I loved Fox, I loved The Simpsons. But what really cemented The Simpsons love for me, my Simpsons appreciation, cup was half full until I seen that episode and it overflowed. That was the best one. It made me really appreciate the show. The writing, everything was so good in that episode, and it just went right up. right up to the sky, right up to the clouds, to the atmosphere, to the moon and back. I love them that much. In this episode, if they could only show it, you'd understand why I fell in love with the show. This was the episode that made me appreciate it, like really appreciate The Simpsons. 100%. And it really cemented, like, my fear, yes, but it also cemented my respect for the character of Bob. I could not believe how far that character, that guy, that man was willing to go to kill Bart in that episode. But trust me, it was one of the best scenes I've ever seen from the show. And let me tell you this, I miss it every single day. I'm not kidding. When I was younger, every time I was thinking about it when I should have been thinking about school. I should have been thinking about my surroundings, but all I could think about was that one episode. When it came to Simpsons, one mention of Simpsons, I was gone. I was like, oh yeah, remember this scene here, the one with the spiral and the one with the axe and the fire and how I laughed at it. Oh man, that was so good. Oh, it's just all I thought about when I was really young. Not kidding. I am not joking. I am not telling lies. I'm telling you the truth here, guys. This episode cemented my love for the show. 100%. And I feel so bad for the people, for the fans, the new fans that never got to see it. I feel so bad for them. I do. Because they're not realizing what they're missing. They are not sure what they are missing. And please, I beg you, share this video around. And please, if you want to help, the petition is right there. I'm not sure if any of you really, are willing to go that far. But if you are, then that's brilliant. Please. I know a lot of ones would think there's no point, but we're not going to get anywhere if we keep thinking like that. You have to go out of your own way. You have to fight. You have to literally, look Fox Studio dead in the eyes. Metaphorically, I mean. But literally, you have to do that. And you have to tell them why you missed this episode. Why was it cancelled? If you want to ask them that, good luck. Seriously, good luck if you can actually ask why. If you can ask why, I did try. I honestly did try. I have tried 6 times. 3 with Algene, 2 with a fox, and of course Algene again with a letter. That's 6 times, guys. 6 times. It's not easy. It's really not, because they keep ignoring me. They said they'd come back to me in roughly 3 days. Never heard from them. They did say if necessary, but that there should have been answered. At least they could have said why they cancelled it. That wouldn't have been as bad. But the fact that they're ignoring me, and the fact that they are literally, they're not even denying the episode. They're just ignoring me. They're not trying to hide it, guys. They are literally hiding that episode. I'm not kidding. They literally have hid it so well. They have hid it so far that not even the new fans literally can find it on the internet. That's how far literally they've tried. There is some leaked proof of it. There is, but they have deleted it from their existence. Other than that, and I'm hoping, I really can get a tape copy so I can at least show you a small clip. I'm sorry I can't be more, but I'm really scared that if I do that, I could get copyrighted, but far worse, and I do not want that. But I'll tell you what I'll do. If I can get it, just you keep an eye on the petition. Seriously, keep an eye on the petition because it will be there. I promise you, I will literally upload it. Only if I can get it. Only if. So take this with a massive grain of salt for the ones that miss it, or the ones that have seen it. I know literally one person that has seen it, and I know another person who's literally seen it twice growing up. So, and then I also met another person as well who did also see it. Trust me, I know not a lot of ones probably, if you ask around, they might know it. They might, but the only way you're going to figure it out is if you keep asking people. Keep asking them. Keep the people thinking. I'll even let you show them this character. See if anyone can actually remember him, because he only appeared in that one episode. Literally, he did. That is Gumbly, guys. I asked, and they said straight away, like a couple of minutes. Gumbly. I was shocked. I honestly was shocked. I remembered the guy that came in for his job, but I did not think his name was Gumbly. And then I looked him up, and yes, if you look up the Simpsons fandom, there is actually a wiki page as well saying the character was a technician. I'm not kidding. Someone actually put him up. It's just they used a different profile image. That's why people get confused. That is not the character. Gumbly is one, yes. Graggle is one. But the problem is, there's another fan-made character as well called it. That's why people get confused, because they don't realize, why does he not look... why does he look strange? Because someone did that. I do not know who. But someone literally put that their character profile up as a joke. And yes, the person that actually did go out there saying, yes, look, he actually is real. He has a real profile page. You know, he does have his own page. He has his own fandom page, and that's true. The problem is, even if you look at it, yes, Matt Groening did confirm that that character of his, he did see himself as him, and again, he did. But that was meant to be a joke character for this one episode. So I have no idea, guys. I honestly do not know. I cannot answer you for the life of me. I cannot answer. But if you do remember it, please, I beg of you, go to the petition. The link is on the screen in front of you. This is your chance. I know that change.org is not going to be easy for them to actually spread the word, but you can. They may not believe in our cause, maybe because they're just trying to help, but trust me, for the ones that do remember this episode, have watched it, please, please, please be respectful, but please try to tell Fox Studio about it. Because I'm telling you now, if you literally do, you might actually, I am not joking. I am not kidding. I am not being, I am not being silly here. I am being dead serious. But if you do, I wish you the best of luck, because I've tried and I just can't get a hold of them. They said they would come back, but they didn't. In 3 days, I've waited 3 days. I even waited a week, but nothing. LG, nothing. It's like every time you ask them about this episode, they get nervous. In my head, I feel like that's the case. But again, I do not know because I'm not over, where they actually are. Not really. I mean, I'm not. But the fact being that they're not even, answering, that is a red flag. Like, that really is. And trust me, if you really want to ask them, just try but be respectful. The best way I can say is just to say, hello and explain gently. If you even ask, like, about the episode in general, again, ask them, actually bring up, again, I'll say it again, Season 13, Episode 23, A Simpsons Tale of Harbor Bay. Pretty sure, because everyone else says yes, that is the title, including that one person from my community post. Again, thank you if you are listening. If you really are, thank you. But, like, if you even bring up that episode at all, it's like they just cut you off. Like that. You're cut off from them. And I really do not know why. I cannot answer you that. Again, I cannot answer you that. I cannot. I mean, I have asked. Trust me, I have asked a lot, and no one can tell me why. Why it was cancelled. Why it was banned. Why even are they so afraid not to let this information out? Trust me, what I'm doing is risking my own channel for you guys. But I do not really care about that. What I care about is spreading the truth. That is literally why I am doing this, guys. I am doing it for the 2000 Simpsons fans. I grew up literally, like, I'm doing it for you guys. I'm doing it for the justice. I'm doing it for no other real reason except for the fact, yes, I do miss it. But if I literally wanted to, I could have literally let this stay in my head. I could have kept this all to myself. But I'm not like that. I am literally one to go out of my way for others. I've helped, I'm not going to brag here, but I've actually helped charities in the past. And that's really all I'm going to say about that, but it's just frustrating to me. And I'm sure it is frustrating for you guys, some of you guys too. So I'm going to leave you this note. First off, it is up to you whether you want to see this episode. I cannot force you to make that choice. No one can, but yourself. And two, Kelsey Grammer, as I said, and the cast, they deserve better. They deserve to be seen. They deserve to be heard for this episode. They deserve to be heard and seen for this episode. And most of all, they deserve people like you and me to see their best work. Thank you for listening. And I hope you have a nice day, night, evening, or afternoon, and I hope that most of you decide to do the right thing. Because before I leave you, I just want you to think about this. To the ones that have seen it. How would you feel if you were in the other boat? Imagine you didn't know where Bart Simpson got his severe PTSD from. After watching The Great Lies Detective. Or even The Bob Next Door and seeing this here and just realizing, oh, they must have just reanimated this, or just animate it for a joke or anything. And you didn't know the truth. I'd feel so bad. And I'm sure you guys can agree. But at the end of the day, we are all human. And no one should have to go through the fact, and no one should need to go through losing anything that was precious to them. No matter if it be work, no matter it be just something as small as just, say, doing something for someone and not getting recognition for it, or just doing their job and not getting, the proper love and attention as some other people, because someone else decided to cancel something that you were in. And again, so on a side note, apparently that Kelsey Grammer Frasier episode, one of them, and I can tell you which one, if you just give me a small minute. Here it is. I found it there not too long ago, actually. An episode of Frasier from 1999 featured actress Christine Baranski. Only ever aired once before it was cut from the syndicated and rerun list. The episode, titled Dr. Nora, featured Baranski as a parody of the controversial radio and TV host Dr. Laura Schlesinger. I think that's Schlesinger. The host, and TV host Dr. Laura, and was nominated for an Emmy. And that there came out, believe it or not, on the 19th of November 2024. That was announced. A lot of ones are not happy about that. A lot of ones are not happy about that news. And I understand why. I myself I do watch Frasier. But imagine if that happened, say to the new ones I'm talking, only the new fans here. Say if that actually happened to one of your favorite shows. Let's say maybe if you watch something like, I have no idea, maybe you watch something like, let's say you watch Has Been Hotel or something, or maybe you watch something else, something like, I don't know, let's say, for example, we'll go with American Dad here. But imagine if in that episode where it's season 14, I believe, it's the one where, Francine actually holds a party, which is like a murder mystery in a way. Well, kind of, because they kind of did do a murder mystery. In that episode, it was a great one. But can you imagine if that episode alone got cancelled because someone thought it was too scary, or more than that, maybe even, here's one for you as well. See, like the Strangler, which was Patrick in Family Guy. How would you feel if that episode, if I remember, it was an earlier one, I think it was season 4, but definitely, how would you feel if that character was written off the show and they cancelled that episode? But then they actually decided to bring him back, and they brought him back for another episode, and you didn't know why they were terrified of him. How would you actually feel about that? Well, that is exactly how fans feel about that episode. Ones I've talked to, they're not happy. Trust me on that. Now, I want you to think of that feeling and imagine someone not believing you when you actually say you've watched it. That is exactly the pain I feel for the ones that missed this episode. Thank you for listening.